So today is a Disappearance Day festival. Many times people ask, why do we celebrate disappearance? Correct? Generally, appearance is celebrated. Somebody is born, we have celebration. We don't have celebration when somebody dies. Correct? Do we have? No. Why do we celebrate? So there is a simple example to understand this. There's once what happened that one sage enters an assembly in a palace, and because he's a very great sage, people generally come for Ashirvada, for blessing. So then a prince comes for blessing, and he says, Rajaputra, Rajaputra, Chiranjiva, you live forever. The next comes to him for blessing is a Muni son, a strict brahmachari who is following rules and regulation. He says, Muniputra, Muniputra, Majiva, don't live, die. Then after that comes the one Kasai for blessing, and he says for Kasai, Majiva Mavara, don't live, don't die. And a great sage, another saint comes, he says, Jivova Morova, you live or you die, doesn't matter. So what is the meaning? The king got puzzled and the saint went away. So he asked his ministry, all the ministers, what is the riddle? Why you given different blessing? He said the reason is this. Your son is licentious. He is addicted to a lot of sinful habits. So after his death he is going to face a lot of trouble. So therefore he said Chiranjiva, keep living. The next one was that was the Rajaputra. Then next one was Muniputra. The Muniputra is strictly following rules and regulations, and a lot of kashta is taking. Why live? He can better die and go back to Vaikuntha. Then next was a Kasai. His life is so sinful. If he lives or dies, neither is good. If he lives, he continues to sin. If he dies, he goes to hell. So there is no blessings to give him. Majiva Mamara. Then finally comes a saint. He says, Jivova Marova. You live or you die, does not matter. You understand? So great saints, when they live or they die, they're always in Krishna consciousness. So life or death is immaterial for them. It's too small. This is too small an event. Okay, so therefore, Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada Disappearance Day is also an auspicious event, because at this moment their Krishna conscious activities to service does not stop. The service to Krishna continues. But true, we do feel pain of separation from them. Otherwise, please switch on off the fan. Giving a sound. Yeah. Fans are on. So January 1st, 1937, this is the moment we are talking about. That's, you can say, the 31st night. Okay, at a late night, some morning, I think some early morning hours, he left the world. That is, how many years from here? 81 years from today. This moment we are celebrating. When did he appear? He appeared in Jagannath Puri, Shri Kshetra Dhama, on 6 February 1874 as a son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the British time was a magistrate, the highest post an Indian was allowed to occupy. After that was governor, he was directly reporting to governor, which is the highest post in India. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was single-handedly trying to revive the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya's mission was so glorious as it started 500 years ago. But then later what happened, as the mission started withering away, it started losing the momentum. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, just like a reinforcement came, and he single-handedly revived the whole movement of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also known as the seventh Goswami. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote prolifically. He wrote hundreds of books, and by personal good example, he pushed the preaching of Lord Chaitanya. He also established the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, and in the class of people, in the mass of people, slowly revived the respect for Lord Chaitanya's mission. But then he prayed to the Lord that, my Lord, your movement is so much deprecated now. I can't do it alone. Please send me somebody from your own staff. Means send me your one soldier to push this mission. I'm growing old now. I've done what I could do, but there's a lot of work to be done. So when his son was born, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he was a special person. That I'll continue to tell how special he was. We can see his life. In fact, when he was Prabhupada was asked once, please tell us about your guru. Prabhupada said, what can I say? He was a Vaikuntha man. What can I tell you? Anything more than that? Okay, so this is what he prays to the Lord. Your teachings have been greatly depreciated. It is not in my power to restore them. He was praying to the Lord, Lord, how do I do? Things are now very difficult to revive. So there was 3 symptoms which Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada showed apart from the later life symptoms, which showed he is a very special person. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur felt he is the answer to his call to the Lord, to send him somebody who can help him push the movement. Number 1 auspicious sign right away when he was born, his umbilical cord was around his neck like, the thread. That's considered very auspicious. A child is born like that. Number 2, what happened once there was a Rath Yatra and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not there at home, but the Jagannath Ratha, if those who are from Jagannath Puri know, behaves mysteriously. It suddenly stops and nobody knows what's the reason. It just stops. There is some reason always, some deep reason. And you can't do anything, they leave it. For 3 days the Ratha did not move, and it was outside the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Strange. 3 days did not move the Ratha. You see that? And for 3 days could not be moved. And you bring whatever, you bring elephant, you bring whatever, the Ratha will not move. So then everybody knows that's a mystery of the Rath Yatra. Every day, every year there is some reason. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife was there. She said, let me take advantage. 3 days the Ratha is just in front. She takes the kid and goes. Who's Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's small boy he takes. And because she is the wife of the magistrate, nowadays there are some restriction. Even previously you could just climb the Ratha anybody. She could take the child to the top of the Ratha. And he sprung forward, even a small child, to hold the lotus feet of Jagannatha. It's already there within him. It's nobody to teach him. Devotion is already in his heart. And immediately the garland from the head of Jagannatha falls on his head. Again indication. This boy is the one Bhaktivinoda Thakur has been praying for. See, Lord gives a small signal. Okay, He will give a small signal by which you come to know. The third one, what happened? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in a temple, just like we don't allow people to enter kitchen. The reason is there. You should not eat anything which is for the Lord's bhoga before it is offered. Correct? Children go, they will pick up and eat. Therefore, we say the kitchen is considered extension of the altar. Unless somebody services there, it doesn't enter. To maintain cleanliness, number 1. Number 2, you should not eat or even think of eating something which is lying there before it is offered to the Lord, which will happen for us. We see gulab jamun, something will come. Isn't it? That's true for us. So what happened? The Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, the small child, he just picked up some mango from there and came out and he started eating. Father came and said, my dear child, what have you done? This mango wants to be offered to the Lord and you have eaten it. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was only a child at that time, not more than 4-year-old. What's the age of your child? 4. Okay, almost his age. Okay? Now you can all understand that age. Your age? Say, oh, you are old. 4-year-old. Very small. Okay? Now just think of 4-year-old child. And now what happened next? He did not eat a mango rest of his life. This is a small incident. Doesn't have to be taken. Do we take it very seriously? He did not touch mango rest of the life. In fact, later part of the life, he was a great acharya. People brought to him the mango dish because mango is the king of fruits. And he says, no, I am an offender, I cannot touch. So this kind of determination shows the person is not ordinary, the extraordinary. Okay. This is his now life. 25 years, he became well versed in Sanskrit, mathematics, astronomy, including English. In fact, his English was so good, when he used to speak English or write something, the Britishers had to open dictionary. His English was so good. You can read Brahma Samhita and see. Immediately you have to open a dictionary. His words are so good. He uses the best of words. When you have vocabulary, use the best of the word for anything to express yourself. Anyway, he was also a great scholar of Surya Siddhanta, which he had studied in early part of his life. Therefore, he got the name Saraswati because of giving. So he brought the Surya Siddhanta, he wrote very nicely. Later, he gave up the astronomy part. He took the mission of his father and spiritual master. His father asked him to take Diksha from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was a great saint, total Vairagi Baba, Vairagya Murti. He used to visit the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur told his son, my dear son, go take his Diksha from him. He went to him. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj could not even write his name, but he was an exemplary devotee, totally in samadhi on the Lord. His father knew that. Therefore he told, my dear son, take Diksha from him. And Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj is daily here Bhaktivinoda Thakur's classes. So that's how the relation is. He became his father's grand disciple in that way. And he requested him, he said, what can I give you, Diksha? I am an uneducated person and you are a scholar in every way and son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great magistrate. He says, no. And he kept requesting him. He said, no. He was actually testing him. And finally, that was the only disciple he took in his life, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Okay? That's fine. In 1905, he took an vow to chant Shatakoti Naam. You understand? Shatakoti Naam? 100 crores. That is 1 billion. You can calculate. 1 crore is 10 million. Correct? Sit and calculate. And then 100 crores is 1 billion. 1000 million. So to chant that much takes a lot of time. You have to practically chant 192 rounds for many, many years. My calculation, it is 8-9 years you have to chant. And during that tapasya, when he did that, because he knew the mission of his father and spiritual master, guru, both are coming on him. They were depending on him. And he was feeling, I am not qualified to do this. We all feel I am qualified, I can do big, big things. But actually it's not true. And neither we are able to do anything also, we can see. So we need some tapasya. So what he did? Shatakoti Naam. He just sat down in Mayapur, one place, and started chanting. During that time, he grew the beard actually. Otherwise he was clean shaven. And he used to eat once in a day in an earthen pot and little rice. Cook little rice in an earthen pot, and that's all he ate. Slept on the ground. And if it used to rain sometime heavily, he used to hold umbrella inside and continue his chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, like that. Small grass hut, when rain, water seeps in. So he used to still with determination was to do Shatakoti. Practically, he was chanting like Haridas Thakur for 8-9 years. Okay? And then he was empowered by the Lord. His father passed in 1914, and very soon his guru also passed away. And before passing away, his father left in the instruction, preach the teachings of the 6 Goswamis. ISKCON is the movement based on the teachings of 6 Goswamis, which are immediate disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada says, this much amount of basis of philosophy is not there in any movement. It's too vast. Okay? And then he requested Siddhanta Saraswati to develop also the birth site. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one more contribution was to identify the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. There he made a small temple. And he asked Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada to continue developing the birth site and the glories of Mayapur. Mayapur is the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. Request all of you to at least once go there. If you go there, you don't feel like coming back. It's very beautiful, very peaceful place. ISKCON is the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then even the mother of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, mother of Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada, she also before leaving the world said, please preach the glories of Lord Gauranga and his Dham. She reminded him the father's desire. The Mayapur glory should spread and worldwide preaching should happen before she left. In 1918, now he makes a decision. This all happens in 1914. In 1918, now he takes up the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu single-handedly, all alone. He just shaves up before the picture of his guru, Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj, and takes sannyas. And his name becomes now Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. You can say this is now shaved up, ready for the mission of the guru and father. Now he understood something which is very useful. Previously, to distribute a book was not easy because copying was by hand. If I have to distribute one book, imagine how much time it takes. It has to be made copy. You understand? And then proofreading. Just imagine the time it takes. Now printing started. So Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada took the clue from his father that very important to use printing for preaching. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada used to call it Brihad Mridanga. Now we play Mridanga. The Mridanga can be held in this room, maybe one more road. But if you print books, the glories of the Lord can be spread all parts of the world. It's a wonderful medium to use to spread your message. So he called it Brihad Mridanga. Mridanga, Sankirtana means glorification of the Lord. It aids this glorification. The printing will aid the glorification. So therefore he called it Brihad Mridanga. In fact, he developed 3-4 printing presses. I will come to that. He founded between 1918 and 1937, that is 18-19 years, because 1918 he has taken sannyas, not taken up the mission. In 18 years, basically, he found 64 mathas, which he called Gaudiya Matha, 64 branches of his mission, which were in Navadip, which is the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, Navadip, Mayapur, then Kolkata, Chakka. These are all many places in West Bengal and Bangladesh, correct? And Nayanganj, Chittom, Madnapur, Hemuna, Balasore, Puri, Alanath, Madras also, Kavur, Delhi, Patna, Gaya, Lucknow, Varanasi, Haridwar, Allahabad, Mathura, Vrindavan, Assam, Kurukshetra. Also one found by his disciples in London and one in Rangoon. So these are the places he found 64 mathas. His writings. He wrote, these are the periodicals, mean regular, not one. They are regularly being printed, monthly or weekly or fortnightly. In fact, he also had a Nadia Prakash, a daily newspaper. In fact, one politician came to him and asked him that, how can you print a daily newspaper? Acha? He gave a famous example. He says, for a small city, we have so many newspapers, just like Mangalore, giving the news of a small city. And news of Vaikunta, every second I can print a newspaper. Only customers are not there. So there is so much news from the spiritual world. Take a Sajjana Toshini, these are say English, Bengali, fortnightly, weekly. These are regular ones, which he monthly. These are the books he wrote. Prahlad Charita. This is Bange Samajika, Brahmana, O Vaishnava, Tatrataya, Bhakti Bhavana Panjika, Navadip. This is there. Vaishnava, Manjusa, Samartha. These are so many. Rais, Ramananda, Relative Words, the Vedanta. These are the books he wrote. And then he took a lot of previous books and he wrote commentary on them. The book by Rupa Goswami, Upadeshamrita, he wrote a commentary. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he wrote a commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam, he wrote a commentary. Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami wrote a commentary. Prema Ratnavila, the Baladev Vidyabhushan, he wrote a commentary. Chaitanya Bhagavata, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he wrote a commentary on that. Chaitanya Chandramrita, he wrote a commentary on that. Brahma Samhita, which we read 5th chapter, he wrote a commentary. Ishopanishad, like that he wrote books. And apart from that, at least 50 books of his father, which was not written by his father, but not published and distributed. He sat down, edited them and printed them. So there is a lot of work which he was doing on writing part. And he wrote all the magazines I told you. He was regularly writing articles for those magazines. That is also a lot of work. Before leaving the world, in fact, his preaching was widespread. Thousands of people became his disciples. There was a time he was feeling, how will I do? And he got the darshan of Lord Chaitanya with the Shat Goswamis. You start, because you are so much frustrated by seeing people who do not know the proper principles. Like morning we had a class, Shruti Shmiti Purana Adi Pancharathir ki Midivina Ekanti ki Harer Bhakti Utpadati Kalpate. If you are having devotion to the Lord without reference to Shruti and Smriti and Purana and Pancharatra, that will only create disturbance, isn't it? Just like you are giving medication without based on the books and experts, you may harm some people. That's what is happening in spiritual line. There is no regulation. At least here you have a registration. There is no registration here. You can do anything. Spiritual line means open a mata, speak anything, do anything. Sab chalta hai. He was so frustrated, he sat down actually. He got despondent. And that is the time he had darshan of Lord Chaitanya with Shat Goswami. So start, will provide you everything. And that's why his movement exploded, and most importantly, things will come. This is before leaving the world. He gave an important statement. With utmost enthusiasm, preach the message of Sri Rupa Raghunatha. Our ultimate goal is to become a speck of dust of touching the lotus feet of followers of Rupa Goswami. All of you remain united in allegiance to the spiritual master in order to satisfy the senses of the transcendental entity of non-dual knowledge. Do not give up the worship of Hari even amidst the hundreds of dangers, hundreds of insults and hundreds of persecution. Do not become unenthusiastic upon seeing that majority of people in this world are not accepting the message of Krishna's sincere worship.